Guys ever, back in the day, listen to the, or watch the Animal Planet, the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin? God rest his soul. I'm thinking of him this morning as I'm looking at this chart, because he would say, "Crikey, mate, we've never seen one quite like this before." That's what we have up in the skies today. It really started yesterday. But there are two, not one, two. That's why I'm saying, crikey, mate. There are two of these patterns that you just don't see very often in a chart. And when they come out, it's like, oh, man, because it's rare. Well, I mean, it's not rare, but it's to see the two together, big deal. All right, let me talk astrology for just a second. And don't try to follow this. Let me just get this out so that it's there and you can at least hear the terms. If you're, remotely interested in studying astrology, this is something that you should definitely tuck this away. So the first one is called a mystic rectangle. Ooh, mystic rectangle. So it's four corners. Think of a rectangle. Just think of a rectangle in your mind. Now, what's really cool about these is they combine elements, and this is the way they come together on the chart. Don't think about the geometry of how this happens. Just know that it happens. That when it comes together in the chart, it combines elements. So you're going to have, on at least represented, air, fire, and earth, water. Now, this one I did a score because so many planets are conjunct or sitting next to each other that we have even more. So, I mean, you'd be okay with just 4 planets, but we have so many sitting next to each other that we get even a bonus. So here are the corners of the rectangle. Now, so we're thinking the same thing. Let's just put the rectangle as though it were laying so that the long sides are horizontal, so they're going left to right, and the shorter sides are vertical. Okay, got it? All right, so on the, let's say the upper left corner, in the upper left, we have Mars. And Mars is sitting right next to the North Node as well. That's our karmic purpose, right? Okay, so that's up in the upper left corner. In the lower left is the Moon. In the lower right, we have the big three, Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node. And in the upper right, we have Neptune and the midheaven sitting next to each other. All right, so like I said, if that was too much information, and just that gets it all out. So those are the players. Now, if we go back to the elements, this is really interesting because this is a watery rectangle. We have 3 elements that are water: the Moon, Pluto, and Neptune. Now, I'm stretching a little on Pluto for you technical people because Pluto has technically not been assigned, but because of its modern rulership of Scorpio, let's go ahead and call it a water. I mean, it's, splitting hairs. Being a little too technical there. But so this is, I'm going to call this a watery rectangle. And then the earth element is Saturn and the fire element is Mars. So what you have with this is just a really cool, symmetric, synergistic, cooperative influence of all of this energy. I would call it spring-loaded karmic purpose. What do you want to accomplish? Energy. That's what I would say. Because you have Mars in there. You have the Moon reflecting yourself. You have the big 3 that are just looming everywhere for this whole year and beyond. And then you have Neptune. So it's just wow. I don't know if you can feel what all of that represents, but it just feels like, what it feels like to me is, I don't want to do anything today. I just want to sit with my journal and some meditative music and ponder my life. That's what it feels like. Now, you might have stuff to do, but that, it's like there's this just great, oh man, that you could just sit and bask in that meditative state and get downloads about what your life is supposed to be about. I'm going to do a podcast over on Subconscious Mind Mastery about this more, so look around this date range for a release, and I'm going to really drill down on something that Majana and I did over the weekend involving Native American history and Native American traditions. So we'll talk about that because I think there is something that comes into play there as well. All right, now the other element, and this is the one that has the yin-yang tension to it, the duality, is we have what's called a grand cross. Now, a grand cross is when you have 4 planets that are basically square to each other. So in this chart, you have a rectangle formation, and right there with it, just put a square right next to the rectangle. What are the players? The Moon, Jupiter, Neptune, and the Sun. And as we said before, the Neptune is sitting right next to the midheaven. So your career is involved in this. Again, the deep water of Neptune. Now Neptune here is a little cranky with Jupiter and the Sun. So how can we play that? Well, if you're feeling some tension just around your purpose, like, why am I here? What am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? That could be in play. If things just don't seem to be moving forward as fast or as productively as you would like, that could be in play. And if you feel bad about it, that would be in there as well. If you're just a little down, I would say that could be represented here. So we have a full mix of just a lot of stuff in the sky today. Crikey, mate! Go out and enjoy it, bloke! This won't last long because the moon is common to both, and the moon will move out, and this thing goes away basically tomorrow. But I wanted to point it out for today. So enjoy the energies. We'll see you tomorrow.